What's going on, everybody? It's Childish. We're back out of the game, coming at you with another Summoner's War video. As you guys may have heard by now, Comptos has dropped literally one of the biggest balance patches in Summoner's War history, and a lot of you guys have probably checked it out. So today we're going to do something different. We're going to mix it up a little bit. Instead of just going through the list top to bottom, we're going to be taking a look at some of the top 5 changes that will impact the meta. But as you guys know, I'm 2 IQ. I don't have the knowledge to talk about this level here. So what do? We brought an endgame player, a Guardian rank player that recently got featured on my channel late last night on our stream. Mr. Mactrosity is on the call here. Mactrosity, how we doing today, boss?
Good, Charles. How you guys doing?
Oh, doing pretty good as always. So again, my man, we got a chance to talk a little bit on the side before getting into this. I like the fact that you have an opinion that doesn't always, mix in with everybody else here. You're going to give an interesting opinion on some of these things, and I'm really excited to share it with the community. What we're going to be doing right now, we'll just hit up that top 5 list. We'll start from the top 5 on number 5 here. We'll just work our way up, and then we'll hit up some recaps on some buffs here, and maybe some wild cards that you're looking to see in this upcoming season here. What do you say?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay, what is your rank 5, your top 5 change out of this list?
So I think number 5 is going to be the Molly Vigor. We're just going to group them together since they seem to be seen a lot with each other. Number 4 will be Bison and the Bisons. Number 3 will be Water Ryu. Number 2 will be Vanessa, and number 1 will be Nyx.
Gotcha. So let's go ahead and start with the Molly Vigor nerf. I mean, I think it was kind of to be expected. I didn't think Comptos was going to drop a big old nerfer, but again, and another thing too, the Water Vigor, being a free to play unit, hurting everybody's opportunity to do, have something really, really nice. What's your overall thoughts on that?
So they are nerfs,
right.
But to me, I don't really think it's enough. And there's a few things that I can use to support that. People are upset that Vigor got nerfed, and they don't understand that when a unit heavily dominates several areas of the game, meaning now arena defense, siege, guild war defense, RTA, when you see a unit that's in all of those areas and it's dominating, or it has an extremely high win rate or pick rate, that's where some of this stuff comes from for a nerf or a buff, right? So Vigor's one of those monsters that has the ability to self-turn cycle because of his skill 2. When he does an overhead for speed, then he does anti-crit to make sure that the damage he's intaking is less. So, this enables him to self-turn cycle.
Right. And
this is a nerf to his skill 3 being an increased cooldown, because it means it's another turn that you have to wait to get that 3-turn defense break. To me, I would have much rather seen the defense break went from a 3-turn defense break to a 2-turn defense break.
Yeah.
I think that would have been a more appropriate nerf to Vigor, and we may see that in the future, because that 3-turn defense break with how much he's turn cycling just gives him the edge on hitting through that defense break while it's still up, and other monsters on your team that you're throwing up that turn 2 speed buff on to hit on that defense break. So it being a 3-turn defense break is still pretty oppressive.
Yeah.
And now the thing you can look at too with Molly, this was a pretty decent nerf to Molly, right?
Right.
The HP recovery went down. I honestly don't see 25 to 20% as that significant because of artifacts.
Right.
Without artifacts, 25 to 20 would be a pretty significant difference, but with artifacts, I just don't see it being enough. I think what they should have done is decrease the glancing chance to 10% and then left the healing at 25. That would have been a good nerf for me. They kind of met me in the middle and did it for HP recovery from 25 to 20 and glancing from 20 to 15. I'm going to take it because Molly, again, is one of those units you see on arena defense, guild war defense, siege, RTA. It's dominating those areas of the game.
Very versatile.
So, I agree with both of those nerfs. I just feel like they could have been adjusted a little different. Like, I would have rather seen Molly stay at 25% healing recovery and her glancing go to 10%. Right. And I would have rather seen Vigor's skill 3 go from a 3-turn defense break to a 2-turn. But I'll take what I can get with that. They're still, warranted nerfs.
Yep. And and you said it best right there at the very end. They were definitely warranted. I know that every single time I see Molly Vigor get picked at the same time in that draft, I literally cringe, because it's just, if I don't have the proper units to counter it, it's like, where do I go from here? I mean, it's just a tough thing to deal with.
The problem with what you just said is, even if you have the units, they're still oppressive units because of violent, right?
Right.
Violent's something you're going to deal with at all parts of the game. But when you have a Vigor take 4 turns and a siege defense, it's really hard to come back from that. Or you have a unit that you're just about ready to kill, and Molly's glancing chance kicks in and it prevents it from dying, and then Molly takes a turn and then violent procs into another turn and
it's
heals,
so gross.
and heals all that up. You know, it's really common that happens because of the glancing chance.
Right.
That glancing chance is just it's really oppressive. So, you know, even with you having the right units, you can still miss a defense break on Molly because of Molly being ran on high res. A lot of Mollies are ran on Nemesis, so you know you miss a defense break, you're still hitting her for damage, and she gets boosted up to cut you.
Right.
Like, you know, even having the right units, it's still very much RNG because of Molly's glancing chance.
Gotcha. All right, sounds good. Yeah, that one there was a nice, healthy debate. Let's go ahead and take a look at your top 4 pick there as far as the big changes overall.
So I'm really excited about the Bisons being buffed, where it's not just attack based or damage, it's attack and HP based, which it should have been at the beginning.
Right.
They're HP based monsters, right? So you're going to see an increase in their damage because their damage was pretty pathetic before. But what's really exciting is this wind Bison, and a lot of people are not going to be happy about it because they're like, oh my god, another wind unit that maxes everybody's cooldowns.
Another Ganymede.
You know, another Ganny. But to me, Bison is a little spicy of her pick because he's got tank stats. So him having tankier stats and putting stuff back on cooldown, he is more of a threat sometimes because these longer games that you're getting into, he doesn't really get hit that hard in the longer games as much as Ganny does. And like Ganny is really good. Ganny is probably still better than Wind Bison, simply because of the base speed.
Yeah.
But Wind Bison's another thing where if they take Ganny from you, you can take Wind Bison and you still aren't compromising your comp as much. And I like that. I like that a lot. I think his kit is really cool. I like the Bison's kits, but obviously they were really bad because they were scaling off attack when they're HP based monsters, so they hit like a wet noodle. We're gonna see that a little different, and I'm excited about that. I like the creativity that those units bring into the game with their kits.
Right, and this is not just for RT as well. I mean, I think that recent change will be really crucial for some of these Guild War and Siege defenses as well.
He will be a Siege contender for sure if people can figure out how to incorporate him for monster synchronization.
Yeah, that'll be interesting here. All right, what's the next one you got?
The next one will be Water Ryu. This is a huge boost for Water Ryu. One of the things that Water Ryu was lacking was honesty damage. You could run a really good crit damage build on him, and his damage was just lackluster. That's not the case anymore. His skill 2 getting a 15% buff it's nuts. Like, it's nuts. And that makes him so viable, and that makes him more of a threat when he's dropped, other than just his passive of cutting. That skill 2 having that 15% damage increase, when you run him on a crit damage build, even like speed, crit damage, HP, if you run a little tanky, or you just go all full out speed, crit damage, attack, that 15% plays a pretty big role in his damage output.
Gotcha. Okay, and let me ask you this. So we're going to throw this one a little off the cuff here, because I know we got a lot of people listening in that are definitely excited to go ahead and mix around now with some of the Street Fighter units here. Let's say we got somebody that's watching this video right now that does have Water Ryu, and maybe they have the option for like a Chibo and some of the other Speedleys that have that, you know, enabling ability here. You know, what's your take on it, Water Ryu versus maybe some other units that can do what it does here? Which do you prefer? Like, how would you go about building it? Just kind of give me a brief overview.
So Water Ryu to me is a despair unit.
Okay.
But that's because of my playstyle, right?
Sure.
There's an argument that Water Ryu is a Swift unit, and you know what? People that have that argument, that run that playstyle, they're warranted in having that argument because it fits their role for how they play him.
Sure.
To me, Water Ryu fits my best playstyle on Despair because of the strip and the chance to stun, right? Okay. Just like Juno, right? People get excited about Despair Juno because of the strip stun.
Yeah.
Water Ryu can even honestly be ran on Violent because you can Violent into his passive. You have, you cut, you go, you Violent proc, there's his passive up again. Right? Water Ryu has such a flexibility because of his passive that it makes him such a viable monster now with this damage increase. It makes him a threat when he's dropped because you have to really read somebody's draft to know how they're built now.
Right.
You don't know if they're built Swift or Despair in some of the slots that he fits. You don't. And then you can really get caught off guard by the violent one. And then if he's violent and you're not prepared for it, well, I mean, good luck with your RNG, because he could steamroll you with the violent by doing the pushback and then procking back into his passive up again and cutting again and doing the attack break. Like the Water Ryu has such flexibility for sets.
Yeah.
He's such a good unit.
Yeah, it's kind of funny when I was doing a little bit of testing myself. Like I was pretty excited to mess around with it. Obviously, Ferris being the one that has been a big advocate of it, messing around. I actually have that unit built because of him, and I was kind of like a hit and miss about it because of the fact that I did not see a nice consistent amount of attack bar reduction. But naturally, I'm making an argument on that with 58% accuracy, so it's not really a fair argument if I don't have the stats to back it up here. So
yeah,
I know he did a little bit of testing. I believe you said you did as well. You find it to be just as reliable, if not better, than like a Chiwu per se?
I would say that he is probably on the same consistency as Chiwu with the set that he needs, right? Just like Chiwu, if you're running him at 100 accuracy, I mean, he could strip everybody or strip nobody, right? I would say Water Ryu has about the same consistency for the strip rate as Chung Peng has, if not a little bit more, because he has 3 chances to do it, whereas Chung Peng only has the 1 chance. But I feel like after using both of them, the strip chance is about the same as Chung Peng.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you for that. What do you got for the next one?
The next one is something I'm super excited about, and that's the Vanessa change.
Oh, here we go.
So people look at this, and I'm sure they get excited about it if they understand it. And for those that don't understand it, I'll go ahead and explain it a little bit. The skill is still the same skill in terms of it self-activating. It's just no longer a passive skill, right?
Right.
Taking that away as a passive means that you can't just counterpick Tessa into it anymore. And that's huge because that makes Vanessa more of a threat where you can't just take something like Isis or Tessa or anybody else that does Oblivion and just delete Vanessa and not have to worry about it. It being a skill is very interesting in a situation where you have something like Vanessa, Ganny, and 2 monsters, right? So you have Vanessa and Ganny on the field, and you have, say, like an Ethna and a Water Monkey, and for whatever reason, an AoE kills Vanessa and Water Monkey, right? Vanessa's passive will bring one of them back. And then you can next turn take Ganymede and ventilate Vanessa, and then as long as whatever one that she brought back is still on the field, she could reuse that skill to bring back the 4th one, right?
Right.
Having that flexibility is nuts because it makes her even more of a threat because she can hold that buff whenever she wants.
Right.
Or you can vent her and do it at any time. Right? That has such a threat factor to it. Like, you're going to see Vanessa a lot more because of that, and I'm excited about that because Vanessa's one of those OG monsters that's been around for a long time. She pretty much deserves this buff for, how long she's been in the game.
Right. And the fact that it's, obviously it has a lot in this kit, but the 33% lead is something that everybody wants to shoot for. I mean, it's definitely going to be a top pick.
Yes.
Nice. All right. And then what's the next one?
The next one is Nyx.
Ooh, let's see what you got there.
Nyx is something I'm super excited about. Nyx is a unit that when they took away the Fairy King skill on Strip, he just lost a lot of his use.
Right.
People think that Nyx is a viable target just because of his passive, and it's not true. His passive is very RNG. 30% is very RNG, even with his res lead, right? You would think with a 55% res lead, a 30% chance to stop buffs, and relatively decent resistance on all your monsters that with that lead would make you 100 res, that Nyx would prevent he prevent negative effects more. And he just doesn't. So the fact that his skill 2 now strips as an AoE is nuts. Right. That makes him, again, more of a threat because that Fran buff, right? Mm-hmm. Nyx can go next and strip.
Yeah. Pretty good. And can you give me just a friendly reminder to the people out there, the other 99.9% of people that don't own a Nyx like you, can you tell them a little bit about their passive and why it's super unique?
His passive is really unique because he makes the duration of harmful effects that you place more. meaning if you have a 2-turn dot, that dot becomes 3 turns instead of 2.
Right.
And it's automatic. There's no resistance accuracy checks on that. It just occurs. Bombs that you lay are a 1-turn bomb instead of 2, meaning the next time that person goes, the bomb detonates.
Right.
Provokes, something like Jean. Jean does a 2-turn provoke. Well, with Nyx, it's a 3-turn provoke. So that's part of Nyx passive. The other part is Nyx has a 30% chance to block incoming negative effects, such as bombs, dots, sleep, that kind of stuff. But again, that 30% is a very RNG skill.
Sure. And let me ask you this here. Obviously, this might not be the optimal build here, but if you say you run a despair set and you get the stun on them, is that going to be a 2-turn stun?
That is not how Nyx works with that. Sadly,
the
only one that I know that does that would be Dark Ryu.
Right. I feel like that was the case because you feel like that would be everybody be all over Nyx, right? If you had an opportunity to get
I honestly, Childish, as much as I would like that buff, I think that would be overpowered.
Yeah,
I think that would be overpowered.
Just a little bit.
The thing with that is, here's why it would be overpowered. Not just the despair set, but his skill 2 in general too with the reset.
Mm-hmm.
The way you would word that, if you did the stuns and freezes, you would have to do the cooldowns too, because those are all grouped together.
Right.
So it wouldn't be a 1-turn cooldown; it would be 2-turn, and that would be pretty nuts as an AOE.
Right. That's like a unit I want to have. If they did that, man, I'll tell you what.
Oh man, Nyx would be your first pick all the time.
Right?
Strip 2-turn cooldown reset on the same skill.
That's number one pick. Yeah.
It'd be nuts.
Yeah. Jeez, man. Okay, so let's get into the next part here. The recap again. For those of you guys that don't know, like I said, we've already had a lot of people in our community that provided fantastic reviews on this. So we just wanted to touch on a couple of units, some nice changes to some units here, and even some wild cards. Let's start out with the dragon buffs. I guess we're all pretty excited about to see some of these units be a little bit more unique with their skill 1 here.
This community can thank people like Sean B, yourself, Once in Love, and any other streamer that's been really harping about dragons needing a skill 1 added other than damage. I'm very excited for this. Varad hitting harder on skill 1. Jemire already hit harder on a crit damage build, and now he scales off speed when most people run Varad on like a 150 set, if not higher, like for turn, the turn cycling. It's nuts. I'm really excited about it because again, the dragons are a family that's been around for a long time, and their skill 1s, they just weren't there.
Yeah.
Now we have that scaling off attack, the scaling off defense, the scaling off HP, attack and HP for light dragon. Like that's it's just really good. And then you got the dark dragon that does more damage when he crits, when most people run dark dragon on a crit build anyways.
Right.
And then you got light dragon who got the Armageddon, his skill 3 buff for 18%. That's nuts.
Right.
Like Armageddon already hit. Yeah, Armageddon already hit hard. Well, 18% is quite a bit.
Yeah, we're gonna see some fun cleaves in RTA for that one for sure.
Yes, which I'm sorry, but Cleaves got the short end of the stick on this balance patch. The Blade Dancer and Chun-Li nerf. They already were. Cleaves have been getting hit pretty hard for a lot of patches. Well, that was just another one they got hit for.
Right. All right. Well, let's talk about another wild. This one here, I'm actually really excited to hear your feedback on it. Tell me a little bit about the Water Art Master. I know a lot of people have been going back and forth about the change. Is it that strong as they say it is or whatnot here? What's your take on that, and where do you think it's going to go in this meta?
So I'm kind of disappointed in Comp to Us for one reason, and I'm glad for Comp to Us for another reason, right?
Sure.
The reason I'm disappointed in Comp to Us was lowering the attack bar increase from 25% to 10%. Water Art Master, when you take him into Chiwu, people were already complaining that his buff wasn't enough for the boost because of Chiwu's pushback, right?
Right.
So them lowering that to 10% just makes him even more or less of a counter to stuff like Chiwu, Triton, Clara.
Right.
But on the opposite side of that, when enemies remove beneficial effects, all harmful effects granted on the allies will be removed. This is a pretty big buff for high-end RTA against things like Gianna, who drops a bomb or AoE stuns with the strip, right? Chung Pong, who strips and gives the defense break and the glancing chance.
Mm-hmm.
Gemini, who strips and does the 2-turn defense break. This unit into those units is very strong, very, very strong, because the whole purpose of those units is that CC, is Gianna to strip stun, is Gemini to defense break, is Chung Pong to defense break to glancing. The fact that Water Art Master now cleanses that off is huge.
Right.
But again, it makes him more niche than what he was already before. So to me, I'm honestly disappointed that they dropped the attack bar increase. I think they should have left it with this buff. Yeah. Because Water Art Master was mostly a niche counter pick to begin with, and now he's even more niche. He does his job very well now for what he is built for, like the Gianna, Chung Pong, Gemini. But he doesn't do anything again against Chiwu and Triton. And people are making the argument, well, that's why they buffed Water Ryu. I mean, we'll see. We'll see. But to me, I felt like they should have just left that. But I am excited to see it against stuff like Gianna, Chung Pong, and Gemini.
Yeah,
and I don't own one. That's one of the monsters that I'm missing. But I am excited to see how he plays into those spots.
Wait a minute. Are you telling me there's actually a Nat 5 that you don't know?
There's 3.
I can't believe it.
There's two Nat 5s. There's 2 Nat 5s I don't own, and they're both good. They're both good. One is Water Art Master, who's Hey Gang, and the other one is Savannah, the Wind Beast Rider.
So you know, taking a look at this change overall, you feel like the change was definitely for like the super high end RTA play.
I really do.
Yeah.
I mean, when you see Gianna, Chung Pong consistently, you're going to see it in the G1 plus range for RTA a lot. Yeah. That's my opinion. And my opinion is supported by me climbing ladder and me watching people at stages and ladder. And sure, you see Gianna, and sure, you see Gemini and Chung Pong at lower stages on ladder, but you don't see it as much as you do in higher ladder.
Sure. All right, and of
course, then on the flip side of that, for the Art Masters, I'm looking at the light Art Master buff, and that's just nuts.
Yeah, everybody they just got themselves a lot of money because everybody's gonna be buying every single LD scroll they can get to try to get that unit now, man. That thing is busted.
32%. Like, I don't even know where they sat down and calculated that.
No, I have no idea.
You know what? He is a very difficult LND Nat 5 to pull. His kit is very unique and very exciting when you read it. Yeah. You know, he has a very dominating kit, and I'm glad that he got this buff. Whether it's a busted buff or not, which in my opinion it's a busted buff.
Right.
But I'm excited for those users, and I don't have one. I'm excited for the light Art Master users because of how cool his kit is.
Right. I mean, we could say it in general. Like, I'm just excited to see LD5 units finally get, buffs that, make them, top tier units. Super rare units should be relatively strong, right?
Yes, I agree to that. Like Han, for instance. Han was one of the worst LD units in the game, and now Han is an SSS tier monster.
Yep. Yeah, most def here. Now this is probably, we got to finish up the video with the one unit that everybody thought needed a balanced patch, needed a change overall, the Water Archangel Ariel. Tell me a little bit about this and why you're excited or not excited about it.
I am super excited for the Ariel buff because Ariel is another monster that's been around forever.
Right.
And he just felt so underwhelming with stuff like 2A Lulu and Abellio, the water druid that came out. They just made him feel like he wasn't worth using. And now I feel like he is worth using, right? Let's just start out with the first change they did. HP recovery amount from 40 to 50% for his holy water. It's crazy. 40 to 50, that's a 10% boost. You add artifacts to that.
Yep. Like,
say you can get a 20% artifact, that's 70% healing. That's nuts.
Right.
Literally nuts. And then you have HP recovery of all allies for 3 turns, and that was changed to remove all harmful effects granted on allies. Grant HP recovery effect for 3 turns by the number of harmful effects removed on the ally who had their harmful effects removed, and then you get it for the recovery. The fact that Ariel now cleanses is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It makes him such a threat for Guild Wars now,
yep.
Whereas before he really wasn't a threat. I mean, a violent Ariel can just proc cleanse if you can put them on a minus wind damage build for artifacts. You can get like a 15 to 25 minus wind damage. That's huge for something like Ariel. You can even run him You can run him violent nemesis, violent will, violent endure if you want the extra res.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, all that is really good in Ariel. Just because the fact he cleanses now, cleansing is so huge, especially when you just stack him with tank stats with mid-range speed. He's going to be a monster you're going to see on arena defense more now.
Okay. Yeah, I think you're definitely right there. We'll definitely see him a little more. And let me put something out there, because I know you made a comment about having like a 70% recovery. Because I know a lot of people, even including myself, I'm super behind when it comes to artifacts. The recovery amount artifact, that bonus for recovery is a straight bonus that gets added into whatever recovery amount per se. It's not like a percentage of the 40 to 50, right? It's a straight.
Nope, it's straight.
That's crazy though.
It is crazy.
Wow.
It's very crazy.
I can't wait to see the first end game player like Ariel, like just stacked beyond belief here. We're gonna see some nastiness and just it's gonna be fun.
And the argument is that 2A Lulu is better, and I don't agree with that argument. And the reason why I don't agree with that argument is base stats. Ariel has really good base stats compared to 2A Lulu. Yeah. 2A Lulu is a good unit. I won't knock that unit. It is a very good unit for what it's used for. I just feel like Ariel fits a couple more roles in the game better than 2A Lulu. One being arena defense, one being siege defense. You may even see it in RTA as a cleanse. Who knows? Mm-hmm. I mean, that 50% recovery before artifacts with the cleanse can literally reset the field. Right. Especially if you're taking it into stuff like cleaves and you have him on Nemesis where he cuts.
Yeah, anti-cleave,
He pretty much just cuts your first rotation of your cleave and resets the field. Like, that is crazy.
Yep, and when you think about some of the like super strong what was it? Was it win units? No, I mean, I guess probably you wouldn't run into water. Yeah,
there's some pretty nutty win units like Ethna.
Right. Yeah. Man, this is definitely going to be an interesting patch, and I want to throw it out there because I know we're going to get somebody in the comment here. By all means, myself as well as Mactrosity, we're very, very excited overall for the changes. While he did state his opinion that some of you guys may not agree with. Again, we're just kind of providing our personal opinion on this one, but we're really excited to see this because there's no one's going to deny the fact that CompTOS actually listened to the community and they made some decent changes that will have a nice impact in the meta. So.
For those wondering, I've been playing this game. I just looked at my account right now for 2,246 days. And to my memory, this is one of the best balance patches that I've seen. Yeah. And that's my opinion. People aren't going to agree with my opinion. But from what I've seen, I haven't felt this excited for some of these changes in quite a while.
Right.
Usually when I look at a balance patch, there's one or two things that I'm excited about. I'm excited about a lot of this balance patch. Mm-hmm. I'm even excited for the Ariel change, right? Ariel puts that Soul Protect on him. I use Ariel and Tartarus Hell. That just makes him even better for Tartarus Hell. Right. You know what I mean? Like, right. I'm excited about that. I'm excited about all the dragons. I'm excited about Nyx. I'm excited about Pisama. I'm excited about all the Bisons. I'm kind of excited about some of the Ryu changes. I'm even excited for the Teor change, right?
Right.
I haven't looked at a balance patch and been excited again about more than like one or two things in a very long time.
Yeah, it's going to be great, man. I'm really excited to see how it rolls out and how everybody enjoys it here. It should be good. But yeah, my man, as always, I appreciate you taking the time to come on board and give us an insight in here. I truly appreciate you taking the time to do this.
Thank you for having me.
Anytime. And once again, guys, if you didn't get a chance to check it out in our last stream, Mr. Mactrosity joined us for a very, very fun couple of matches here at the end of our stream where we got a chance to talk a little bit about our strategy, basically give me a little bit of coaching. And I ain't gonna lie, after 5 minutes, I got a lot of value out of it. And he was telling me, he was basically advising me on the side that this is something that he does on the regular. This is something that he provides for the community, a service that he provides for the community. So Mactrosity, if you can do me a favor, maybe provide, I don't know if you have an email or have a way of getting a hold of you. What is the best way for somebody to get a hold of you if they're looking at, basically, getting some tutelage from you, getting a little coaching, where do they go for that?
They honestly can PM me on Twitch. I stream on my Twitch. If you would drop my Twitch in there, you can PM me on Twitch. I do look at that pretty often.
Okay.
And then touching base on Twitch, we can extend from there for stuff like Discord.
Okay. Sounds good. And do you have a schedule, like a steady schedule that you normally do for streaming on Twitch?
So my schedule for Twitch is I try to stream 5 times a week. The timings from that kind of change depending on what I got going on during that day. The majority of the time, I try to stream from like 1 p.m. until I'm done Pacific time.
Okay.
On the weekends, I try to stream more towards the nighttime frame. I have a lot of EU people that I enjoy in my streams, so I try to be able to stream so where some of the EU people can come in there too, because I have a really good time with the EU people too.
Sure. Sounds good. All right. Well, we'll go ahead and close the video off right there. Once again, guys, if you did like this style of video, stop your joint, give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more of this, maybe have Mactrosity back on the channel, do some personal RTA coaching on my account, let me know in the YouTube description down below. I'm looking hearing forward your feedback on that. Okay. That's going to be it, guys. Thank you all so much for tuning in. It's your boy Childish from Mactrosity with Childish Plays checking out. Take care, and we will see you all in the next one.